Hi there, David Johnson from Superior Lapidary. Welcome to part 2 of the shaping machine video series. I just got a brand new shaping machine from Highland Park. You saw me kind of unbox it and put it together a little bit. Now I got to show you what I got in the mail the other day. Holy cow. Actually, these are bigger and heavier than I imagined. This looks like it's for the 2-inch spheres. That is a substantial piece of metal, folks. I'm definitely going to keep those boxes for storing these. Yeah, there's one. That, I think it's for my little marbles. So yeah, there it is. Okay, that's for the small marbles. That's pretty cool. I gotta like that. The other one must be for the hearts. Alright, there's a plate to attach the Everclean to the side of the machine. And in here, I got 3 different cams. One for hearts. Oh, hard to see, but we got the little guitar pick cam. And an oval. There. This is awesome. Okay, now I got to get some oil in the machine and get her fired up pretty soon. I'll show you how I got the oil next and what happened there. That was a fiasco. Highland Park did great. The delivery company did great. I myself, though, had a big failure. I only got a picture. There's no video, but I'll show that to you. Okay, we just took delivery from that truck to my garage. Love getting stuff like that. Well, we took delivery and I was moving it off of the pallet and I had a little orange cart to put it on and yeah, it tipped over. So it creased the can, but no real damage, but I still had to fix it and that took a while. Okay, so what was under the black plastic, you ask? A 50-gallon drum of HP Cool Cut. This is what they're recommending for all their equipment needs, for all the saws and stuff. I got this. I need some for my shaper, and I got to add some to my saws, and they just literally had the best deal I could find on something that would work for me. So I've got my 50-gallon. It's not a 55. It's about a 50, maybe 50 and a half gallon drum. So keep that in mind when you're costing it out, that it's not a full 55. So now I'm just going to get the pump on there and fill some containers so I can add it to my shaping machine. There we go. What I had to do is get some leverage by reaching across the darn thing. Holy yikes. Alright, we're in. Alright. There's the barrel pump. Now I can fill up a couple of these old containers. Alright, there's one. I'm probably going to need 2 of these. I don't exactly know. are. Okay, so there we go. I got to make 2 trips back to my workshop with my liquid gold in hand. This is awesome. If you see a little discoloration in here, that's from the container from the stuff inside. The oil came out perfectly clear. I've got my oil, and now we're back at the machine. It's been another week, but that's the way life goes around here. I'll show you where it goes. Since you don't get any directions with one of these machines when you get it, I did put in a message to the Rollins how much oil goes in the machine. And they just said, 5 gallons. So when you open it up and take a look inside, you've got your motor here. And your intake is down here. This is the motor that pumps the oil to feed the hose on top to spray on your work. There's another bracket here. This is for your EverClean pump, and I'm going to put one in here should that ever arrive. It's now getting near mid-March, and I haven't seen it at my door yet. I ordered it in November, so that's kind of disappointing, but it is going to show up. I know it will. They just got to wait till they get a container with some stuff on it, and I'll get it. So there's no latches or catches on here. You've got the power cord, so you got power that you supply to this pump, and it just came coiled up like that. And honestly, I think I can leave it like that. There's not a lot happening with the oil down here. It's just getting sucked up in a pump and then dripping down the bottom from up above. So how much oil do you put in again? He said 5 gallons. I don't know. Well, I got a couple of containers. I think there may be 2.5 gallon containers full of oil. But you want it, the level to be a few inches below these brackets. And these brackets look like they're at the same height. I'm not going to measure them, but they're very close. So a couple inches from there. And that should provide you plenty of oil. So they're splashing out a little bit. There. You can see how nice and clear that stuff really is. Well, if these are 2.5s, I don't quite have 5 gallons in there. Maybe a little more. I'm certain I could put the whole thing in there, but there's no need to. So there, oil installed. Now, if you run into problems with this cord and the connection getting in the oil itself, you can untie it and go through your access door on the side and find a place to tie it there. Now, as little as I know about these machines, I'm going to fire this up and see if the pump automatically turns on. Just one of them things. Because first things I'm going to do is plug it in. Okay, now we're going to see what happens when I turn things on. Oh, she's pumping oil right now. That was immediate. You can see how much splash I got already. On me, my chair. Okay, so oil's in, pump is ready. Now I got everything wet, and now I got to put on one of my pieces here. There, that's for making your 2-inch spheres. And the oil, as it comes off of your work, just simply funnels down and drips into the lower container. So now this particular wheel has these wide flanges, so I don't need the flanges that come with this, and there are 2 of them. Separate them. Just simple flanges. And there's a pair. And there's no left or right, frontwards or backwards, as far as I know. Now to lift the head out of the way to get that on. And you can actually visualize through this side. When I look right there at the end of my finger, I can see that the wheel is all the way over. And now I just have to put the keeper nut on there. And it's a standard thread, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I think I better get a wrench so I can snug it up just a little bit. It's not super tight, but I think it's going to be good enough. I'm not certain. All right, I'll get that done now. The little keepers that hold the stones. Well, this got me thinking. What size material can I fit in there? Now this is made for making a 2-inch sphere. Well, that's how it's advertised. So I thought, well, we better measure inside the pins and see what we can start off with roughly. Except my tool doesn't quite fit in there all the way, so I got to kind of guesstimate this. So right about there, somewhere just over 2 inches. So I got a piece of rose quartz, and it actually does fit in there. But so we're going to try this one first. I'm just going to knob some of these corners off just to save a little bit of the wheel life, I guess. So I got the water on. It turns out that it really is a choice whether you want to pre-form them or not. I've done some smaller ones and it really doesn't need it. Okay, we didn't take it down too far. I just basically knocked a lot of the corners off and the edges, and we'll see if this works. Now I do have a big chunk missing out of here. So if this sphere doesn't work out perfectly, I don't care. It's just a test run. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're going to have one bad side on it, but that's fine. I'm just guesstimating at the center of this. Okay. So I'm going to close the machine. Boy, lights dimmed on that one. Holy cow. Okay. So there's the trick. As I move the throw-off handle down, that engages the pump. I'm going to close this so I don't get oil all over. Sorry about that, folks. Well, it threw the rock out of the thing. So I guess you got to crank it down a little tighter. As with any tool, there's a learning curve. It seemed to be doing what it promised it would do, but I failed in getting that tight enough. All right, let's take a little closer look at this stone. You can see right here, there's the ring. That's where things are grinding when it's spit out. So we're just going to rejig this and see if we can hit her again. Wish me luck. Sorry about the background noise. I got 3 saws going right now. I'm going to put a little more muscle on that. Again, we'll turn the machine on. Wow, it takes quite a load. And I'm going to move this handle down again. Oil's flowing. Well, we dropped it again. I just didn't hear it go. Yeah, it definitely dug into it a little bit more. And then she popped off. I guess you got to baby this down. Until it gets closer to being round, I guess. I don't know. Well, I'll let you know what I know about this machine so far. It works as advertised, but the operator's got to learn a few things. The first time and the second time this fell out, I really didn't have it clamped well enough. That's what I think my problem is. Then it cut for a while and it quit cutting, and that was simply because it hit the stop. I thought I had it set for a particular place. I did not. That was just an operator error. You control the up and down of how far this head can go with the red knob here, and I don't know, somehow I goofed up. So I'm going to lower this in. We're not going to run it. I've got a little bit more room here before I start hitting my pins. So I'm going to run this so that I get it going the right way. Couple more turns. And I should be getting real close to those pins now. Close that I am. This is not going to be a sphere, at least not on this grinding wheel. I got it in a little off center. Not too bad. So that's another mistake. I've got to make sure you center these very carefully. Let's fire it up and try it again. Here go the lights. Oil pointed at the rock because it dries out really fast. There's the oil, it's turning. I do have another stone I'm going to try, so as soon as this is done I'll put this one in there. It's probably a little small, so we'll just get a start on it, and one day when I get a smaller stone for doing smaller size spheres, we'll finish these two up. So they're not lost, they're not wasted. Maybe what I should do is try and mark the center on these little, something like that. And you can hear we're getting no more grinding going on, so I'm done with that. I'll bring it back to the first time I tried to make a sphere, and I'll show you a video. One of the very first videos I took, I was very frustrated, and I was basically looking for help on the internet, so I made a video about my sphere making going awry. Didn't get a ton of views, I didn't get much for answers, but it did cause me to think through the problem, and I did figure it out. And one thing, open this door pretty quickly because it does grip. It grips on the floor. So honestly, that's looking pretty good. It's a little fracture on the back side, little flat spot here, of course this big flat spot. So I'm going to take this out. And we're just going to save that until I get a new jig for it. We may end up with something similar with this, I don't know. Try to center it down there as best I can. Yeah, and this one certainly is going to have to go onto a smaller cup. But I've got it, I'm going to try it. Why not? I'm going to have to baby this one in until these corners come off, so I didn't whittle this down at all. The oil pointed where I want it. Everything gets oily on this. Holy cow. This is going to be constant maintenance. Well, the good news is I didn't throw the rock on this one. It's doing exactly what it should. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. Well, that took that one down pretty quick. And as I figured, though, I think I'm going to need to get a smaller wheel to finish it. As I took it down, I can just see where it was just about ready to touch the phenolic pins there. So that's as far as I can take that one. Well, it's got a couple of pretty good flat spots on her, but I'm going to change out the grinding stone that's in there for the big 2-inch spheres, and I'm going to go to something quite a bit smaller and then see if I've got something that I can actually get something done with. So step one, I got to take out what's in here and replace the grinding wheel. Okay, so on this side it's just a nut, and it's about yay big, I don't know, somewhere around 1 inch. I'm going to find a wrench for it. Right now we're going to use that. And I tried just holding this grinding wheel and putting a wrench on there, and I just didn't have enough. So I've got to get a wrench on the right side of the machine. I'll show you where. So there's a little door here on the right side of the machine that opens up. and then I can get to the far right side of this shaft, and it's just out of sight under there. So I'm just going to take the little adjustable wrench, actually, the big wrench on first. I'm going to reach in, feel around. So annoying. Yeah. Almost dropped my other wrench again. Well, that didn't take much. So now I can turn that off by hand. Actually, to get a little more room, I can shift this over. Apparently, you got to take the little holders here for your stones out. Get that out of the way. There it is for making little marbles. There's no indication that direction is important, so you can put it on either way you like. That nut I can spin on by hand. I think if I hold it stone, that's plenty tight enough for what it does. I'll put on the little phenolic pin here. Okay, so that's centered fairly well. Okay, now I've just got to find a stone of an appropriate size. Lock it in here and start making marbles. So I got the stone for making marbles. I got a rock in here that I've cut down. It's kind of cube shaped. I haven't rounded it off at all, so it's going to take a little longer than I'd like, but I just want to get this going. I'm not confident in my skills to run this with the hood open yet. I know a lot of guys do, but I will. Not this time. Turn the machine on. So the wheel's spinning. The light comes on, so my everything's turning in there now. I made most of a marble. Pull it out of there in a second. There we are. All I got to do is knob these ends off and I've got myself a beautiful little marble, and that was fast. When I turn the main switch on, that starts spinning the grinding wheel. As I lower the handle, it turns on both the oil and it starts spinning the rotisserie. All right, so I'm manually lowering this right now just to get it kind of started. So now as it's really made a circle, especially on this side, I can relax the handle in and just let it do its thing now. So one little high spot is working out. Boy, one or two more revolutions and we'll be there. Okay, so there we've got a marble preform made. So you got a little material on this side. There's not much. I almost got into that phenolic pin. I'm trying not to do that, but you know, maybe it will happen one day. And I got a little chunk over here. I might polish that up and make something out of that. I don't like to leave the hood open because there's a little mist and vapor that comes out of there. So I normally run this hood closed. Some people don't. I do. But I wanted to show you this process. So I just release the handle on the right hand side, and there is most of marble. Let's see. Sometimes I can break this off. There we go. And I'm left with looks like a couple of pontils on a glass made marble, on a blown marble. So I'll just take these to the grinder, grind them off, and we'll have marble here shortly. In fact, let's do that, and then I'll explain to you why I'm going to cut this video short and make the next video as part 3, which I wasn't expecting. Okay, I'm at the 8-inch grinder. I've got a new 60 grit grinding wheel on here, and we're going to do a little bit of a cheat, not much, but I'm going to grab a different stone. The other one I just did is full of oil, and I want that oil off there because I don't want oil on my stone. So I've got another one here. I'll see if these ends break off properly. There, that did. Left with one little pontil. Try side 2. There, that broke off. Yeah, and so far it hasn't left any divots when I've done that, and I've done about a dozen of them, maybe more. And we're going to grind that off. So there we go. It's marble shaped. If I feel, I can feel just a little bit of that, those pontils we'll call them on here. But let's just go over to my other machine here and finish this up. Okay, I'm over at the marble polishing machine. I've got little sphere cups. I made all of these, and I've actually got a video on how I make some bigger ones, but the smaller ones are just the same. So yeah, I've made those. This is 100 grit in here, and that's where I'm going to start so I can get rid of those little pontil shapes out of here. I've had this machine quite a long time. I was taking a trip from Wisconsin to Arizona, and I think I picked it up, where was it, New Mexico. So I don't have a watering system on here yet, and I will one day. So I hand feed a little water, turn it on, and that starts polishing away those little pontils. And I can go through all sorts of steps from 100 up to 10,000 if I like. And here's another one of the same material. This is Northern Lights from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's a copper-bearing mineral, so as you twirl it around, you might be able to see some little copper flash in there. Alright, well I think that's what we're going to call this video. I've shown you enough this time, and here's what I'm making. I'm making little marbles. I know I started out with the 2-inch ones with some rose quartz, and those are the two pieces I had, and I never quite finished them, so we'll get to them later and fix them up. So sorry if I didn't show you the bigger one. I will one day later. I expected this to be the finale, but we're going to go to part 3. In part 3, I'm going to take you through the process of installing the Everclean on here, and two pretty drastic problems I had with it that took some work. So that is going to be a whole episode in and of itself. So I hope you enjoyed this. We are going to get back into the machine as I actually learn more about how to use it, and we will show you a few tips and tricks and some finished material. Yeah, so give it a thumbs up if you like this at all. If you didn't, you know what to do. Appreciate any comments, and yeah, subscribe. That would help me out greatly. I'd appreciate it. It would help keep the shop going here. All right, until next time.